Unparallel are a brand with growing momentum these days, and today we'll be looking at their flagship model, which is called the Flagship. So what's it all about? As you might have guessed from the name, it sits at the top of the Unparallel name and is designed as a performance all-rounder. So be that bouldering, indoors or out, sport climbing, indoors or out, or competition or comp style climbing, which is these days kind of a genre in and of itself. So before we go on to talking about how it does that, we'll talk about fit, because that's always the most important thing to get right. The Flagship is a little on the narrower side in terms of its width, but the volume is actually a little on the high side, particularly in and around the forefoot. On the heel, it's a little wider than average, with again, probably above average volume. This all sits together with the slipper and single strap design that helps keep your foot in place. When it comes to sizing, I kept the same as my high street shoe size, but as always with these things, try before you buy, because these could be the cream of the Flagship crop, but if they don't fit you, they're not going to be right for you. The other thing that's worth mentioning for when you do try them on is the entrance to the shoe, because of its slipper design, is actually quite narrow. So I have to use a piece of plastic just to get my heel in. Now this isn't to go down too many sizes, because they're microfiber upper, they don't stretch a great deal, so you don't want to buy them too tight. But you do want to make sure that you don't get them too baggy either. So now that we've covered fit, what comes next is how they are once they're on. And within the forefoot of the Flagship, there's actually quite a high degree of support, and there's 3.5mm of rubber. Now, the end result of this is actually you've got an impressive edging machine, but because of the split nature of the sole, they're actually impressively sensitive, especially when worn in. In and around its distinctive heel, Unparallel have used 4.5mm rubber, and that helps to an extent to maintain its shape, but it also gives it a little bit of an edge which you can use to catch on small ripples, pebbles and the such like. Looking further forward towards the toe, you have a moulded toe patch, and these are integral on all forms of modern climbing shoe, especially for bouldering and steep sport. The benefit of the moulded design though is that there's less to pick away. So the idea being is that even after repeated use, you won't end up with the edges creeping up and turning and eventually unpeeling. There are two types of rubber compound used on the Flagship. On the front is the RS rubber, which is the grippier of the two, and on the back you've got the RH, which is slightly firmer but still provides that good degree of grippiness. So as with all Unparallel shoes, they feel pretty bomb-proof and built to last. Everything like the tabs on the back feel like they almost have bar tacks on. It's the sort of thing you could probably belay off. Don't belay off them. And even the straps and all the other sort of accessories and the parts that go around, again, feel like something that basically is going to last you a fair few whiles and take a repeated battering. We've been out using the Unparallel Flagship today on God's own rock, the gritstone. We've been using it on slabs, arêtes, overhangs, and I could see myself doing exactly the same on things like steep limestone as well. They're definitely a shoe with performance in mind. And in terms of fit, you just need to make sure that that width across the forefoot and that volume is going to work for you. And if they do, give them a go.